All right, so we're gonna start spoiler-free first, and then we're going to go into spoilers. So, go ahead and flip that. This is gonna be done in one. All right. I even did all this visual lookiness that we got going on. Did this to be cute because this film just blew my goddamn mind. I want to firstly start with something that I sent my cousin Dominic the day that I saw the film. As a matter of fact, check this out. Check this out. Check this out. So I've seen the film twice now, right? Check this out. So I first saw this October 24th, and it was so good, I had to see it again. Had to see it again. All right, and here's the motherfucking proof, this was yesterday, October 27th, and so I sent my cousin Dominic this. He was the first person I sent my opinion to about the film, and what I wrote was, and since we're in the spoiler-free section, what did you think of the film right away? While I'm pulling this up.
I thought it was cinema, a crisply clean cut cinema to the purest degree.
Right?
Film.
It was perfect. It was, as a matter of fact, this is what I told Dominic on Friday. I wrote, actually, we should just go handheld now. Actually, I'll turn this towards you. Go handheld now. But what I wrote was The Lighthouse. This may potentially be the best film, and you can like pan around and stuff, but The Lighthouse may potentially be the best film I've ever seen. There's never been cinema, modern cinema, like this, except for The Matrix, in that it's timeless, like The Matrix. I'm giving it an 11 out of 10. It's honestly made me rethink how transportive cinema can be. A new classic. And honestly, I know this is a lot, but there's nothing else I can really say, okay? I'm giving it 11 out of 10. I highly recommend you check out the film. We're about to switch over to spoilers in just a few seconds. But seriously, if you haven't seen the film, just know that I think it's 11 out of 10, and that's truthfully all your ass really needs to know, okay? So we're gonna go to spoilers now. So if you have not seen the film, it's time to get the fuck out of here, because we're about to go in. There's something else cute that I was gonna do, but it's time to just dive into this. So, yeah, I think the film is 11 out of 10. It is kind of like David Lynch's Eraserhead and Blue Velvet. You can mix with, yeah, it's kind of like a bizarre like a nightmarish amalgamation of those two films in my mind. Very Lynchian, very something else that I've never seen before. You know, it's got the 1:3 aspect ratio, right? So it looks like you're looking in a box, which speaks to that old era of film like Fritz Lang or that one Akira Kurosawa film that has Throne in the title. I can't think of it off the top of my head. But those films that are shot like a box, you know, it's like emulating like the past, you know, probably like silent films and shit, you know, and it completely works. Every building, the literal lighthouse itself, which is like 70 feet or something like that, the light can be seen up to 16 miles away, right? I'm actually gonna walk backwards, but the cinematography, the aspect ratio, everything about the film is meant to emulate the 1890s, which is when the film takes place, and the film grain, the aspect ratio, their period accurate accents that Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe were utilizing is astonishing. We're definitely going to be all over the place with this review, but the first thing that gets me about the film is that it starts off black, and then we hear the foghorn, you know, and then it finally comes on. First off, I just want to say the foghorn, that noise that continues throughout the film, I think that noise is potentially like my favorite sound in cinema, like in Star Wars, you got the pew pew, vroom vroom. There's famous sound effects, right? But for me personally, not that I've ever done this before, but I think my new favorite cinematic sound, maybe it used to be that boom, noise from Inception. You guys remember that shit? Movie trailers used to copy off that, But I think that foghorn sound in this movie is my new favorite, like, cinematic sound. Every time I hear it, it gives me goosebumps. It makes me recall the film immediately. It's so eerie. It's so, like, ominous. Like, it just sounds like some demon bellowing in the distance. Like, that shot of, like, Robert and Willem, like, standing there watching the ship go away, and you, like, see Robert, like, wince from the loud foghorn. I was like, what the fuck? The sound that I was just hearing is the same sound that he's hearing? Like, that was such a bizarre, like, meta moment. And throughout the film, like, there was a time where he was, like, shoveling coal or whatever into, like, this furnace, and it started blazing, and he was like, fuck, That's how loud that goddamn thing is. And the fact that it's happening throughout the entire film, just, like, tormenting Robert, is just, like, it's so spooky, And there's so many things tormenting Robert, from, like, the daily labor that he has to do, all that shoveling and shit, with the wheelbarrow, which has got to be heavy as fuck, okay? I don't know if you've ever, like, worked with a wheelbarrow that's, like, full of rocks, which, ironically, I have. That is, like, the worst kind of fucking work you could plausibly imagine. Like, there was a time where I think it was raining, and he was trying to be so careful, but accidentally fell over, and the music's just like, brrr, like, just the torment that Robert goes through, like, continuously. It's just, like, so astonishing. It starts to fuck with you as a viewer.
Yeah, Willem not helping.
Right. And then, and the seagull, I can't wait to talk about the seagull, but just the opening minutes are just legendary, because everything feels real. Like, when we're watching that ship disappear at the beginning, I'm just like, I don't understand. Is that a miniature? Is that a literal ship disappearing into literal fog? Because if that's the case, how the fuck did they work that out and figure that out? And if it's like some weird miniature or like CGI, I'm even more confused.
Just the fact that
how they made these shots.
Just the fact that you're questioning it means that.
Yeah. Oh my God. And then when we see Willem, his introduction to the film, which is just simply him out of frame, and you hear him farting, and then you see him just go like, you know what I mean? It's like, what? Like, Robert Pattinson, like, his character at first is so timid, he's so shy, he's so, like, kind of dark and mysterious. He actually kind of reminded me of Aragorn when we first see him in the Fellowship of the Ring. Remember that old dude was like, that's Strider, or he goes by Strider, or whatever the fuck he says.
Right.
He had the hood on, he was smoking the pipe. That's almost like Robert's character in this movie, at first. And Willem, holy fuck. He's like, what do they call that character? Captain Ahab or whatever from Moby Dick or whatever the fuck, He's on some, like, literal Moby Dick type of shit with his dialogue and his mannerisms. He's like every caricature of an old sea sailor you've ever heard of, except done perfectly. Like, he's like a great performance and a great meme all at once, you know what I mean? Like, much like the film, like, sometimes he's funny, sometimes he's terrifying. There was a scene at the beginning where they were having dinner for the first time, eating lobster, and, like, there's this moment where I think Willem is trying to get Robert to drink, but he doesn't want to. And there's a moment where Willem, like, he gives Robert this creepy smile, like it was really, really fucking creepy. It was just for a moment, and I remember just being like, listen, if that man says he wants to drink, maybe you should just drink with that motherfucker. It is literally you and him. That's it, There's not even, like, dogs in this bitch. Like, So, I just don't. But the thing is, though, is that Willem is always fucking with them. Whether it's with the farts or making them redo chores, like just because, seemingly. It almost seems like he's always trying to manipulate them, right? Or he's always just trying to fuck with them a little bit, you know? Which is weird. It just adds, again, to the fact that, like, for Robert, everything is torment. He's constantly being tormented. So it's like the outcome of the film almost seems inevitable in a way. They were always going to kill each other, maybe, you know? There's just so much. The seagull, you know, and the witch. There was Black Phillip, I think was his name, the goat, you know, that Bobble-myth looking goat, you know? And in this film, it's the seagull. That one-eyed seagull has got to be the creepiest usage of an animal I've ever seen in cinema. At least for me personally. I've never seen an animal that goddamn... There's just something about that seagull that creeps me the fuck out. Because it's just fucking with Robert for no discernible reason. It just seems to get worse and worse. Like, there was one time where the bird was laying on... oh, yeah. Willem was, like, dropping him down, and he was, like... Robert was, like, painting the side of the lighthouse, you know? And Robert was like, hey, easy! And then, like, he finally gets dropped, and he falls, and he's like, ah! You know, and he wakes up. That part. So when the bird's, like, on his leg, and it's, like, tearing at his leg, it's like, what the fuck? Why?
The seagull kind of represents Willem Dafoe's character in a way.
Yeah?
Yeah, because they're both, like, picking at him in a way that's slowly making him enraged. But
They both are picking at him.
And in a way, well, we haven't got there yet. So.
Right. I was actually just pulling up a quote from the film that someone sent me, which is one of my favorite quotes so far, where Willem's like, best ye leave the gulls be, in 'em's the souls of sailors, what met their maker. Which is just a fantastic...
And did you see his reaction when Robert was like, okay, his face? It's like it was more serious than just some saying. It's like it meant something way more to him.
Right. Oh yeah, the part where he like literally smacks Robert.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, "Lead them gulls be," and Robert was like,
Robert's like, "I'm about to beat the hell out of you."
And Willem's so unpredictable. Like in that moment, remember, like he like cowered weirdly, and he was like, "I'm sorry, me lad. We best get ready for tomorrow."
He's like, "Pitch some coffee."
And Robert was just like, like I thought Robert was gonna fuck his ass up, you know?
Right.
Oh my God! What else was just so astounding? The use of film grain and just the lighting was incredible. Like when they first ate, you know, the blacks, like everything, like pretty much like from here down was just like black on the screen. Like the black levels were so deep. The film grain is so like noticeable, like in Mandy, which I just love when it's like really really noticeable. Because it makes the footage feel aged, like it's actually of that time, you know? It's pretty brilliant. What else sort of... I think I mentioned that all the buildings in the lighthouse itself were all created for the film exclusively, which is unbelievable. Whoa! I just forgot all about the opening sequence when it fades in from black at the very, very, very beginning. There's a part where you're looking at something and you're not really sure what the fuck's going on, and more gets revealed, and it's like, what am I looking at? And then you begin to realize you're looking at the surface of the ocean, which is, suddenly is becoming more and more focused, you know? And you see the island. That shot was a brilliant opening because it was like disorienting, you know? What else comes to mind? I think, with them continuously drinking and going madder and madder from the alcohol, like that one sequence where Robert finally gives in to not wanting to drink, you know? And Robert's just like,
That drink was the gateway to a metaphysical delirium.
Right. And then the next sequence, you see them dancing around that table. They're like, oh, that shit ain't the go.
Good old boys having a great time.
What? Like, there's a part where Robert, like, he, like, grabs a chair and, like, throws it out of the way so he can keep dancing around. On that part, I literally, the first time I saw it, I was like, fuck, because it looks like a real wooden chair. And the way that he moved it, you could tell, like, he genuinely moved it in a, like, unsafe way. So first time I saw it, I was like, god damn, like, they're they are really in character. Like, you could tell, like, holy shit. I was like, is he sure he didn't hurt his hand when he moved that chair? Like, what the fuck, man? Like, they're really in there. And there's a moment where Robert's like, oh no, Willem's like, dash. He's like, come on, dash. And Robert's like, and he just like flips the fuck out. And then suddenly they're just like slow dancing. And then both screenings, like the whole crowd was like laughing, you know? And then Robert and Willem almost like kiss, bizarrely. Remember that shit?
Yeah.
In that sequence? There's a lot of homoeroticism
Right.
in the film. Because they're just going completely crazy. It's just only them. And we got to talk about these, like, supernatural moments, you know? When Robert, he finds, like, a statue of a mermaid that I'm assuming some other lost poor soul was masturbating to a long time ago. Who knows? But he finds this mermaid statue in the bed. By the way, they find a corpse that has one eye, you know? And when you think back to that quote I was just talking about that Willem made, best ye leave the goals be, in 'em's the souls of sailors what make their maker. That corpse had one eye.
And the seagull had one eye open.
So it's almost like the last frame of the film, you know, was this person just like someone else who got mad and in a similar way died from, you know, starvation and seagulls picking out his eye or whatever, you know? I don't know. Hell, maybe this whole quarrel that Robert has with the seagull, maybe this one-eyed man had the same situation happen. Maybe he died fighting the seagull, and that's why he has one eye, and that's why the bird has one eye.
Right.
We don't know, but it's really fascinating to riff on it, what the truth is. But anyways, speaking of the fucking mermaid, these goddamn supernatural moments, these visions, these dream-like moments, holy shit. Maybe the best dream sequences, honestly, that I've ever seen in any movie. Honestly. They're very Eraserhead, Blue Velvet-like, very much so. Like when Blue Velvet is trying to be creepy or weird or completely fucking bonkers, you know, it's like that, you know. But so something's happening to where Robert, he's like walking somewhere, and then suddenly he's just like walking in water, and he doesn't make any water sounds, and like I think he sees like logs in the water, and he sees like a body floating. It's so fucking bizarre. The goddamn and then they cut to the shot of the mermaid like swimming towards the camera, and there's so much film grain. That has got to be the most beautiful shot of the year. Has to be. Like, I have no idea how they got that shot. I don't know how they lit that shot. As far as I can tell, I don't see any CGI, so it's like did they just find some big ass lake and they just went on the water and they just told the actress like, hey, just put this makeup on, this costume on, just swim towards the camera? How'd they get the shot? I don't know. But that sequence is exceptional. That leads me to another thing that makes the sequence so extraordinary. When you see that shot of the mermaid swimming towards the camera, the score. I'm about to pull it up because I don't remember the composer's face and or his name rather. And I want to make sure I do him justice. Mark Coven did the score, and the score is absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. These songs are fucking incredible.
Oh, wait.
I don't know if
Here we go.
but yeah, the score is amazing, and the score itself is a 10 out of 10. Like, it's so dense. It is so unbelievably eerie. And nostalgic, even though you've never heard it before, the score. There's just something about it that, very much so like the film, is timeless in its execution. It sounds like something that will be haunting people for like generations to come, honestly. Again, much like the film. Probably the most haunting film I've ever seen. This is potentially the greatest film I've ever seen. I need to spend like a few months on it, thinking about it, maybe a year or two, letting it sink in. But this is the only film that I've ever seen where I'm like, you know what? Because my favorite film of all time has been The Matrix. It's been the same answer since 1999. The same film, the first film, The Matrix, from the Wachowskis. And this is the only known time I've ever said that I saw a movie that was so good it dethroned The Matrix. And I think this might be the one. And you spend more time thinking about it, but I think this might have defeated The Matrix for me. Because, I mean, the countless ways that you can interpret the film, what you can learn from the cinematography, from the these are maybe the two best performances I've ever seen, okay? At first I was like, okay, clearly Willem is the best performer here and Robert's second. You know, he's doing a great job. But as you watch the film and it goes on and on, I'm just like, wait a second. Not only is Robert matching Willem, there's like a couple moments where he did slightly better than Willem.
Yeah,
I mean, they're going back and forth. Like, unbelievable acting, okay? If anyone's like, how could this be two of the best performances you've ever seen? How in the fuck are they not convincing? That's all I want to know. They are so utterly convincing. Their voices don't sound like the regular voices. There's even like moments where like they made facial expressions, because like I'm a big interview guy, so like before a film I'll watch a lot of interviews of the actors and actresses, you know, because if you watch the film and you see them in real life and it's the same person, how great of a performance was it really, right? So but no, like Robert did not sound like Robert, okay? It sounded like some motherfucker from the 1800s. It didn't sound like Robert at all. Like there was a scene where Robert Pattinson was, I think his character's name is Winslow. He was making a confession, you know, and I forgot what he was saying, but he was like, you know, and I'm doing good work, you know, and I'm a good, hard-working man, you know, I'll work harder than any man. He was saying some shit, I forgot what he was saying, but he like sheds a tear even, and it's like this huge speech, and when he gets done, Willem Dafoe's not even there.
He's in the Lighthouse.
He had stopped listening. He had moved on, you know. But that sequence, like his performance, like his voice, is totally different from his usual voice. It's astounding performances. Astounding. The Lighthouse is a good thing to mention. That shot of where you see Robert, like, walking past that barn, and you can, like, see, like, the lights spinning. So you see, like, William's, like, an outline, silhouette of Willem behind Robert on the barn or whatever, you know, and then we look up and we see fucking Willem just like this, just like naked, staring at the light, you know, which in some ways I can kind of see why he was so obsessed, you know, because the light bulb, if you will. I don't know anything about lighthouses, sorry, but I'm assuming that was the bulb he was staring at. But like, it did look trippy as fuck, you know, especially as it's like moving, you know, and it's so bright.
Kind of reminded me of Sunshine.
Yeah, Danny Boyle, for the record. 2007.
Yeah, when that one doctor would go in that room and just stare at the simulated sun.
Yeah, it reminded me of that, you know, and throughout the film, Robert's like constantly just trying to get a look at the light, and William, you know, no, it's not for you, it is for me, you know, which even that was weird and plays into like his torment, you know, and gosh, there's just so much to this film. The visions. I do want to stick on the visions for a moment. What's another good one? Oh, the one where Robert's he's in the lighthouse, and he's looking up, and like you can see Willem Dafoe. You see him above, like through the holes, you know, and you can hear that. I guess he's like masturbating, or he's like orgasming, or just like both. And then we see what I believe to be from the noises that Willem Dafoe was making, which were very sort of like orgasmic. He must have been masturbating to the light, but you see like literal cum oozing and dripping down, and like Robert's like looking at it in like a dazed, like eager way, which is fucking weird. And then when we look up through the holes in, we see Willem as like I guess he's like a squid, so like we see his like tentacles moving around. What the fuck? The movie's just a big mind fuck, man.
It's almost like the squid represents some kind of sexual arousal. But we only saw that squid at moments like that.
Like when he was having like sexual frustration, maybe.
Yeah, it's like when it was coming out, or in either of them. Like there was another scene where we saw the squid where Robert was on top of him, about to beat the shit out of him, and he saw the mermaid. And then when he went to go embrace the mermaid.
Oh, that scene where he's like, he finally like fights Willem, and Willem gives him that good hard smack, and he's about to go unconscious, and the mermaid's touching him, and then he gathers himself, and he's just like, and the more he weakens him, the more the tentacles start to retract and stuff. This movie is a mind fuck, man. You know how many different ways you can look at that imagery, or like study that imagery, or interpret that imagery. Like it's some like Lovecraft horror shit, you know, like macabre. You know what I'm saying?
It's like the control that Willem had over him was broken.
Yeah.
Like literally, he literally broke Willem's control, broke him down to a dog, like literally.
What's another great? I'm just gonna call them dream sequences because I honestly don't know what else to call them. I don't know if they're real or hallucinations. I'm assuming that they're hallucinations because they're both losing their goddamn minds the whole time.
There was a shot where it makes you think that Willem's like some kind of Poseidon god or something.
Oh, I'm so glad you mentioned that. That shot where it's like Willem he's shirtless and he's got that ship on his chest, and he's naked. And he's standing in this weird, like, Greek god stance, and he's, like, staring down at Robert, and there's, like, light coming out of his eyes, and Robert's just, like, kneeling down, like, looking at the light. I have no idea what that means. Right. I wish I had some, like, solid, detailed theory to give you, but I don't know. I need to, like, live with this movie for, like, a few years before I have, like, solid answers to all the whacked out imagery in this film, but I'll try to do the best I can giving answers. But I think that, for example, when we see Willem Dafoe, you know, with the tentacles, I think what that's supposed to mean is that maybe he sees Willem as this squid because he's honestly suffocating him the whole time, you know?
Yeah. That's a good analogy.
Willem's always got his hands around his throat, like sometimes literally. So maybe that has something to do with why he sees Willem as with tentacles. Not quite sure. I don't know. And the sequence where another good vision moment where Robert, what does he do? He's like outside and he sees like this naked woman just like laying on the beach, and he goes to look at her, and it's like, okay, she's dead, but when he touched her face, I think she kind of moves, so she's alive, and he's like moving his hand down, and you know, we see her breasts, and like we notice that she's like this beautiful woman, and the score is so overwhelming. It is so unique, so overwhelming, but like so creepy too. There's one where he's like moving his hand down, and then we see her thigh, and then we see like a fin or something like that, or like we see like fish-like parts of her flesh, you know, and you're like, wait a second, what the fuck? Not only is this not a dead person, not only is this person alive, it's a fucking naked mermaid with a massive vagina, by the way. Interesting. Massive vagina. And then she gets up and she's like, she starts making those signs. She's like a siren, you know?
Siren.
And you see him running on those rocks like he was actually doing that. It's not like he was on some wire or something. So it's like, could you imagine if he like slipped or something? Like, fuck me. But the way that he's running away, like, the frame rate is different, so it looks like he's skipping, because of the frame rate, and then we see him like screaming and shit before he comes back inside, and Willem's like, "Where you been at?" And Robert's like, man, brilliant. Is there another vision moment or dream moment I'm missing? Because man, those moments are so profound. The sound design is interesting too, because it's almost like the score and the sound design are like one. For example, sometimes we hear the clock just ticking, just like endlessly, just like in a very frustrating type of way. And like when Robert like learns the truth, like Robert throws up. He like looks at this book suddenly that's open, and when he's reading through the book and he learns the truth about this whole situation, that clock and the music, they're both like moving with each other, and the clock is like tick 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 tick, tick. And then finally, after Robert learns the truth, he just goes boom and just punches the clock, and all those clock sounds just go away suddenly. You're just like, whoa! Like, it's amazing how the sound design and the score go hand in hand, And he's like, well, you weren't this and you weren't that. You've got us stranded. I'm not gonna get paid my wages. Robert is saying, and it's like, or even when Robert first learns that there's a possibility that they might get stranded. I remember whether William's like, Willem, he's like, you're leaving this rock tomorrow. We're gonna be leaving tomorrow. And there's that wonderful shot of them. They got their bags packed, and it's windy, and they're like waiting, waiting to get taken off the island, but no one ever comes. That shot is gonna be iconic one day, because it looks like a literal, every frame of this movie looks like some Polaroid picture, photochemically produced picture, like from the 1800s. Like every frame looks that way. Every part, every sequence looks perfectly shot, as if it's just all one big graphic novel or something. I've never seen something like this before. I've never seen a film so perfectly crafted from a technical standpoint, The production is next level, particularly with like costumes and shit. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable work, honestly. Unbelievable work. Oh my goodness. What else can I say about this film that I haven't said? Is there any thoughts that are rolling around in your mind right now? What stood out about the film?
There's one thing that they didn't really... They showed a ship in a glass bottle. A miniature ship. They only showed it once.
And you thought that had some relation to do with the tattoo on Willem's chest, maybe?
Yeah.
It's possible.
Because they only showed it that one time. That was it. And
I didn't notice what you're talking about, the ship in the bottle. I didn't see that. So maybe there's correlation there, possibly. I'm not sure. I don't know.
There's a lot of metaphoric,
Some of these shots, though, like at the beginning, where we're looking down and we're seeing like this, it looks like a rocky mountain, and we see William and Robert like walking across the very, very top of the frame. The very top of the frame. You're seeing the sky, you're seeing the birds. Like, the image feels huge. There's also another fantastic shot where we, the camera, we're seeing, we're at the ocean, we're seeing the surface of the water. You see the island, you see the lighthouse, and they're like yay big in the distance, you see the light spinning around, you see the sky, but the angle seems impossible. It's so tall, it's so huge, and it's like, okay, clearly that's not a miniature. So it's like, how did they get that shot so perfectly? Like, that's another thing. The atmosphere of this film is so unique. I mean, like, it feels cold, it seems dark, everything actually, for once, seems actually in frame. It doesn't look like when you watch a Marvel film. No offense, Marvel movies, I do enjoy Marvel films, but honestly, it's not like a Marvel film where it's like, okay, clearly there's CGI over there. It's like, no, when you're looking at this film, like, there's just like one moment we're seeing just simple shots of Robert walking around with the wheelbarrow, and we just see random shots of like the buildings and like seagulls flying around. I remember when I first saw this film, I just remember immediately being struck by the fact that like this is all real, man. Like this isn't just like green screen slapped everywhere. What we're seeing is actually happening in the frame, and it's just tremendous. Like when Robert's like carrying those two things full of shit and piss and God knows what else, you know what I'm saying? And he's walking to the ledge of that. He's walking to the edge of that cliff. I got so concerned because I was like, wait a second. I don't think there's wires in this bitch. Like, I don't think there's a crane nearby. Like, if this motherfucker accidentally slips or something, my boy Robert would have been taken the fuck out just trying to do this one simple ass scene, you know? Which is hilarious scene. He like throws up the piss and shit and it slaps back in his face and he's like, ah! But again, this might be the best blending of comedy and like horror / fucked up imagery I've ever seen, you know? I've never seen a comedy and horror marry so well. I don't think this is a horror film, but there are like horror moments. But I've never seen comedy and horror. I've never seen a hybrid so well done before, you know? Because like in this moment where he like accidentally throws shit on himself, everybody in the theater's like, but when it immediately cuts back to William and Robert having dinner again, and the music's like ominous, and it really starts to sink in like just how Robert, his life is just getting shittier and shittier. Like that sudden switch from like comedy to like darkness is astounding, you know? It's amazing. That transition actually gave me goosebumps because I was just like, to say that this is not going to end well, that's an understatement. The scene with the seagull that might be best scene of the year, maybe. That might be best scene of the year. When Robert goes to pour himself a thing of water, and all of a sudden there's just like shit or like blood coming out of it, and he's like, what the fuck's going on? So he goes to the well, and he sees this dead seagull in there. And that same one goddamn seagull shows up again, the one-eyed one, right? The one who had super creepily tapped on his window and like stares at him before it flew off, and Robert woke up like, fuck was that, you know? Robert sees him again. Robert flips out this time, right? He fucking goes, he grabs that goddamn, or no, he grabs this goddamn seagull, and he's just like, and just fucking, but he kills this seagull for a solid like minute or something like that. That I have not laughed like that in years. That sequence is it's hysterical. It is so violent. It is so out of fuck nowhere. I wasn't sure what was gonna happen to that seagull, but like, that is not what I saw happen. What did you think when you saw that sequence? Because I think it's absolutely hilarious. Because it starts off where it's like it's fucked up, it's creepy. They don't even have drinkable water anymore. Like, what the fuck? Like, it's a seagull. Like, you know, people talk about guardian angels. Is this like Robert's like evil version of a guardian angel, or it's not meant to guard, it's meant to antagonize? You know,
it's almost like the seagull knew what Robert had done. Yeah. And what he was going to do.
But what did you think of the sequence where he killed that seagull, though? That was so hilarious to me.
I thought it was like the same way he broke that clock. Frustration.
Yeah.
Like, he did it out of just pure instinct. I'm frustrated. I'm done. I can't even drink water right now. And one of your buddies is dead in the water, and you're fucking with me again?
I would have killed it the same goddamn way.
I can't say I wouldn't have. I can't say I wouldn't have.
Fuck Willem. He's like, you know, there be spirits in the garden. They goddamn spirits about to leave. There's also that one sequence where Robert's got like the wheelbarrow, and he's like, hey, get away, you know, but Seagull's not going anywhere. He like throws a rock at it. And when he turns around, you can see like Willem in the tower just like creepily staring at him. And it's just like, damn, he saw that? What the fuck? There was another scene where Willem is like looking down at Robert at night, you know, but for some reason the shadows have like hollowed out his eyes. So like when William is like looking down at Robert in the distance, you know, he looks creepy as fuck. And it's like, why does the image look like that? Why is he just creepily staring at Robert like that? Why? Oh, it's creepy. It's like just perfect nightmare dream logic shit. It's so creepy. Again, that sequence with William staring down at Robert, and William's eyes are like hollowed out by like shadows and shit. Woo, that's creepy. I don't. Whoa, that's creepy. That mermaid bitch is creepy. A beautiful actress, though. Who is that? But creepy as shit. What? And then these dumbasses they run out of alcohol, so they start drinking. I believe it's kerosene, basically gasoline. Basically, they start drinking kerosene, and that shot of them. First off, just seeing them trying to, I guess, make the kerosene drinkable or something. They like mix something in there, and like William was waiting all eagerly, like, you know. And that scene where they're pissed drunk, just doing this, and they're like, when I was first watching that, I was just like, these niggas ain't gonna make it. They're not gonna live through this. There's no way. What else is good to talk about? So the sequence in which Roberts finally had enough with him, and Willem's just like, you know, you're just a dog. You're just a scraggly old dog, whatever the fuck. Robert like flips out on him and knocks him out. But he has him like a dog, right? So, oh no, he's trying to get him to bark as a dog. He's like, "Come on, dog, bark! See, bark!" And Willem's just like, "Woof, woof!" Like
he broke him.
Robert became a new man, right? He was totally different from how we met him.
Or he became the man that he already was. That he was trying to suppress and hide. The reason why he was on the run in the first place.
It's gonna be an authentic review because cold as fuck out here actually, but yeah, he starts off shy and timid and shit, and like in this scene where he's like, bark, dog, see, bark, louder, you know, like he had confidence, he was more open and shit, like even as the film progresses, he starts like opening up, you know, and Willem's like, why'd you spill your beans? You spilled your beans, see, you're going mad, you know. Wasn't there a scene where Willem was like, well, my name is Thomas, and Robert was like, well, but my name is Thomas. Wasn't there a part like that? Mm-hmm. Something like that?
Yep.
Which might play into how the film ends. You know, maybe this is all just some nightmare in the head of some dying sailor. Possibly.
Willem may not have ever been there.
Yeah, there's a part where Willem literally verbatim was like, maybe I'm just a figment of your imagination, and you're somewhere else. Lose your mind. Maybe this island is just not even here.
Because he is almost like a caricature. Like he's almost like like you say, he's like the typical seaman.
Right. Like he's like that seaman that like everybody like, if they're exaggerating the seaman, that's basically William's character. Like, see, you know, shit like that. That's literally how he was. Just convincing somehow. Which, by the way, I think this is not only Willem's best performance of all time, period. I don't even know if he could do much better than this performance. This is the best performance I've ever seen him do. But it might be the best performance I've ever seen from anybody. Switching from like being creepy to being funny to being completely enraged. That one sequence, which there's a lot of wonders, sequences done in one take. There's a lot of fantastic wonders. Too many for me to even recap because I've only seen the film twice. But there's a lot of them. But that sequence where Willem's saying something about, you know, this part of the floor isn't clean. And Robert's like, now hold on a second now. I scrubbed them. I scrubbed these quarters, you know. I scrubbed them good too. But when Willem's just like, essentially it's just like, I don't give a fuck if you cleaned that shit 15 times before. It's not clean. I'm gonna need you to not only clean it again, I'm gonna need you to clean it 10 more fucking times. And if you got a problem with it, what do you say? Something like, and I'll make you, I don't care if I have to make you take out every nail and every floorboard. If you have to scrub every single wall, you'll do it with a smile on your face. You know, I was like, yo, if someone was testing me like that, I mean, I think you just have to kill him. We'd have to fight or something. I don't give a fuck if he did dock my pay. You can't just be talking to me like that all the time, manipulating me, tormenting me with these goddamn farts. Your ass masturbating to like the lights. And that one story that he was saying about Willem, you know, he was like, went mad, he did. He thought that there was enchantment in the light, you know? That whole story he's telling, that's what we're watching, it seems, you know? That was like foreshadowing of the whole film, I think, maybe. I don't know. You know, at the end, the last thing we see is someone who's naked on a beach being pecked apart by seagulls. Now, I think that that's Robert Pattinson. I think that when he fell down the staircase, maybe he must have lived, and from that, somehow he came to be naked, and that's him on the beach dying. Or maybe this whole movie is just gobbledygook. And what actually happened is that a one man got stranded, and there never was a Willem, and he just got washed up on the shore and just died. And as he was dying, what he was thinking about is the movie that we just saw. I don't know. Maybe the island was never real. Maybe Willem was never real. Maybe the mermaid was actually real at some point. Who knows? You know. The cool thing about the ending is that it's very much so similar to the ending of Inception, where you can kind of interpret it, substantially speaking, in very substantially different ways. You know, I think that's what's happening here. Because, quick spoilers for Inception, really quick. If you haven't seen Inception, go fucking see it. But I am going to spoil a bit of Inception from Christopher Nolan in 1, 2, 3. Can't believe I had to do that. But I guess you never know. Some people actually haven't seen Inception. But the ending with Inception is like either, you know, when he rescues his kids, that actually happened, that was reality, or just a dream. You know, and when the top is spinning and he's out there playing with his kids, maybe that's sadly just a dream. But it's up to you to decide, and that's very much so with the ending of Lighthouse. It's like, except with the Lighthouse, it's not two ways. It's not like it was all reality or a dream. It's like, it seems like you can interpret it in multiple different ways, the ending of Lighthouse, which I appreciate. But the part which is done in one take, by the way, at least for a moment, what the fuck? But, you know, he's like, come here. Come on, dog. Come on, you know. And he's got Willem on a leash, you know, and he's like walking him out to his grave, you know. All that was done in one shot, and then he has Willem fall in, and he starts shoveling in the dirt, and he buries Willem alive in one shot. Buries him alive. Now my theory, it's a silly theory, but my theory is that I think maybe they just used a bunch of chocolate. Because a lot of dirt got in his mouth, and there were moments where, like, Willem was talking, he was like, here's the, whatever the fuck he was saying. But if that was real dirt, either way, it's impressive. It must have been real dirt. For some reason, I was thinking, maybe they just used chocolate but at the same time, you know, Robert Pattinson talked about like licking mud and pissing himself to get into character, or like sometimes before it was time to shoot a sequence, he might like just get down on the floor and start growling to try to get in character. So I guess I can't believe they buried him alive like that. Like you could tell it was like going in his nose and his mouth and shit. And when you finally see him completely submerged, like cinema, you know, cinema. That shot of him, you know, one eye's like closed because he got punched so hard, you know. I wonder what he was reciting, because just that shot of Robert being buried alive is so engraved to my retinas. But the dialogue is so exceptional. You know, the part where where Robert's like, you know, I wish I had me a steak. If I had me a steak, I'd fuck it. You know, and Willem's like, you don't like me cooking? Certainly you like my laughter. You know, that part. Okay, well, that part, well, there's a part where Willem's like, damn ye! Let Neptune strike ye dead, Winslow. Hawk! Hawk! And then he goes into that huge monologue. Maybe the best monologue I've ever heard. It's exceptional acting. Cinematography, all of that's great. But, I mean, exceptional. Like, he literally seemed like an old man from the 1800s. Oh. Is there anything else to say? Oh! And so he's buried him alive. He goes back in. And then I knew William was gonna come back. I knew he was still gonna be alive. Because he wasn't buried for that long. But when Willem comes in, you know, he strikes Robert with the axe. Something happens to when, you know, one of them falls over. But when Robert, I'll never forget this, when he walks over and he's just like, boom! And it's just like a burst of gore. Just tremendous. Both times, the audience, like, they, like, gasped. They were like, you know, it's just cinema. Perfect cinema, you know? And then when he's finally able to go see the light, oh my God, Robert's like covered in blood. And you see him finally unlock the door and emerge into the top room of the lighthouse. The way that Robert looks is some of the creepiest fucking imagery I've ever seen in any movie. Particularly where it looks like his eyes are whited out as he's in the room. And he's staring at the spinning light finally, you know? And then it even, like, creepily slows down and, like, opens up on its own, which, I don't know. And you see him reach in and touch the light. And then, like reality starts, like, glitching and shit. And he starts leaning back. And suddenly it looks like he has no teeth and just gums. And, like, his mouth starts to bend and open and possibly... And he starts looking like a literal fucking demon. And he starts like screaming and shit. And then suddenly, it's like, am I supposed to find this funny? Am I supposed to find this horrifying? What the fuck just happened? Reality just became a nightmare for no reason. And then boom, you just see him just falling down the staircase. And then we get to the ending, you know. That sequence of him staring at the light, that's what reminded me of Sunshine, for sure. You know? It kind of reminds me of that sequence from Sunshine, from Danny Boyle, fantastic film, where they're watching Mercury move around the sun, you know? And were just like staring at it in awe, you know? But this seems to be a thing in movies that I love, where there's a moment where characters are experiencing something that we, as audience, cannot articulate what they're going through. This happened in Annihilation. There's a moment in Annihilation where Natalie Portman is staring at like a portal, if you will. And it's like, what's happening to her? What's she experiencing? And in this film, you know, when he's looking at the light, it's like, why? Why was he so drawn to the light? What happened to him when he touched it, you know? Thoughts on that? What do you think happened there? And what do you think of that scene where he finally touches it and like, he's like, oh no, he starts laughing, right? He starts laughing, he's like, ha ha ha, and the audio starts distorting, he looks like a demon. What do you think of that moment?
I think it was, he thought that it would maybe alleviate something in him, but really it maybe showed him a part of himself he was trying to run from, but it like probably extended it way past his understanding of it. So it wasn't like this was a relief. I need to get relief, because he thought Willem was getting released.
And he was, technically.
Yeah, so he thought that would happen for him.
So maybe like, cause like Willem was like masturbating to the light and shit, so he wanted the same drink he had. He wanted the same drugs that he was having.
Yeah, it's like if
He wanted the same
somebody
experience.
has a reaction to LSD that's crazy, but somebody else had a great reaction.
Right.
It's kind of like that. It wasn't meant for him to, the way he did it too. It was all meant to like lead to that.
Yeah. It's like, goddamn, he wanted to see the light that. But there was even a part where he begged when he realized that he was stranded. You know, he was like, listen, I'll even beg, just please, just let me see it. You know, masterpiece, fucking masterpiece. I don't know if there's anything else we need to cover. Is there anything else that comes to mind for you about the film?
Not at the moment.
I just thought it was unexpectedly and I was looking forward to the film, but I had no idea that like the best comparison I can give to the film is maybe like Blade Runner 2049, because that's also a film that's like just done exceptionally. The only difference is that the performances in this are all timers, you know, all timers for cinema. I was blown away. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I'm going to spend some time with the film, but it's very possible. Robert Eggers, if you're watching this, I know this is very difficult for you to hear, but at the current time, I will admit this may possibly be my favorite movie of all time. The replay value of this film is insane. Even just watching it just to better understand the dialogue is this thing that I want to do. And that's its own separate thing. I have all kinds of reasons to want to rewatch this, but the dialogue in particular, like, there were certain moments where, like, you know, Dafoe's like screaming about Neptune and shit. And I'm like, I need to rewatch this movie a few times just to get a handle on the dialogue, if nothing else. Because there were multiple times where Willem uttered something and I was like, come again? What does that mean exactly? Or Robert would say some shit. I was like, I don't know what that terminology means. What? You know? So the replay value is so high. So yeah, Robert Eggers, if you're watching this may potentially be my new favorite film of all time. I'm giving this movie a 11 out of 10. Not a 10 out of 10. 11 out of 10. The only other film I've ever given an 11 out of 10 would be The Matrix. That's because, you know, it's my favorite film of all time. So I'm feeling an 11 out of 10 for The Lighthouse. When Sam watches this review, he's just going to be like... But what would you rate this film?
I can't even pick a number right now. I know it's high.
To me, it's timeless. You know, I think people will look back at this film the way that people look back and read up on like Greek mythology. You know, it's timeless. Like, there's gonna be kids who are filmmakers who are gonna have the same reaction I'm having right now, like 50 years from now, to this movie. That's how good I think it
definitely had the Criterion spirit.
They gotta throw it on
classic,
Criterion.
yeah.
Do you think there was any CGI in the film?
Not that I can notice.
I feel like maybe the answer's gotta be yes, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't notice.
I didn't question anything.
There's a scene where after they drank kerosene for the first time, where Willem and Robert, they're laughing underneath a table that has an axe stuck in it, and they're both just like like maniacal laughter. Like, it's not funny, it's creepy as fuck. And all of a sudden a wave comes in and crashes into the room, and you can literally see, if you pay attention, like the walls bend inwards, so you can tell that set was literally hit by a wave. How they achieved that shot, I don't know, because, you know, the following morning, the place is like a pigsty, it's a wreck, remember? I don't know how they did that. That one sequence where Willem's just like, what? Robert's just like, what? And the boss was like, what? Man, perfect. It captured madness perfectly. You know what I mean? A masterpiece for me. I'm just gonna leave it there. I might have some more thoughts about the film later, but I'm gonna leave it there. I think it's a masterpiece. But what do you think? Let me know your thoughts down below. I'm gonna be spending the next few months and year deciding on if this is the best film of all time for me that I've seen. But that doesn't make you want to look into this film deeper. I don't know what will, but I think that's all I got. You want to like pan out on those trees or something? So I think we're about to sign off here. Let me know your guys' thoughts down below, and thanks as always for watching. Oh, I know what you should sign off on. Here, I got you. That's how I end every video, boys. Every time. And we're out.